Welcome back to I Just Don't Know podcast with me, Angel.
Stay down, came up, God made a way.
Okay, we're in a new location, the balcony. And I don't know, I'm nervous sitting out here recording because, first of all, I guess social anxiety is a thing about like people looking at you or you not knowing if people looking at you. But we're going to do this anyway because I want to give y'all like some fresh locations and not just always sit in the corner in the podcast area. All right, so today, y'all, I haven't been being a good steward. I haven't. So we're going to talk about it today. So today's episode is going to be about being a good steward. So let's dive into it. Okay, so God wants us to be a good steward. God is a God of principles, and He doesn't pour into vessels that don't pour out. Okay, so the small that we have, God wants us to steward it well. Now, God convicted me a couple of weeks ago about being a good steward, about what I already had. I was always thinking, here these past couple of months, I've been thinking about more. Well, God is not going to give you more if you're not dealing well or stewarding well with the little that He gives you, if you're not taking care of it. Like, okay, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's relatable. I would cook dinner and leave my dishes in the sink overnight. Okay, I know you're probably thinking, well, that's small. That's not really a big thing. Well, actually, it is to God, because take care of the kitchen that I gave you. You asking God for a bigger kitchen, where you could put an island and a 36-seater table in your dining room, but you're leaving dirty dishes in the sink. And cleanliness is next to godliness. And I know some people probably like, well, it's just like a few dishes. Wash the dishes. So what I've been trying to do here lately, and sometimes I miss, I'll have some dishes and I'll be like, I'm gonna wash those, or I'll think about what God ministered to me about being a good steward, and I'll be like, let me get up and be a good steward. For example, I did that last night. Okay, the living room was kind of a little messy, so I was like, you know what, let me get up and be a good steward. Let me clean up the living room, the little different things that was out of place, I put them back in place. I cleaned up the kitchen really good. I swept the kitchen. I'm taking care of what God has already given me. I'm living in an apartment currently, but I'm praying and asking and seeking God for a house, but I'm not keeping the apartment top tier shape. Okay, but then when I think to myself, well, when I get my house, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But God let me know, why won't you do it now? So I was like really convicted about it. I was like, oh my God, that is so true. So now that I've been focusing on being a good steward about what I have here now, it's making me realize gratefulness. So I'm more grateful for what I have, because it could be that I'm homeless and don't have anywhere to live. And then I'm in another situation. So it's good to remember stewardship always should lead to gratefulness. Okay, so I wanted to get into some notes that I wrote. I like having my notes because sometimes I forget because I start talking and I get sidetracked. So basically, if you're mismanaging time, your body, your mental, your peace, you're mismanaging your money is a big one. Mismanaging money is a big one. God is not going to give you $10 million if you can't handle $10,000. And I know it's a hard truth, but I had to realize that. And when I was younger, years and years ago, my mom had said something and it really stuck with me. I think I was like a teenager, but she was like, you have a thing with money. So she never went into details about it. She never explained what she meant. So I always wondered, like, oh my God, am I that person that love money and the Bible is talking about me? Like, I've grew up in the church like all my life, and the scriptures, but I was like, am I the person that God is talking about in the scriptures? it always pondered my mind and I always worried about it. But here's the thing, when I got into therapy and I learned about some of my trauma triggers and stuff like that, I learned because we grew up like on the poor side, and we didn't really have a lot, and we didn't know where our next meal was going to come from. It was just hard. I think I know it did, because my therapist said it carried over into my adult life. Like, if I don't have enough money in my savings or my checking account, I get anxiety because I worry about, how am I going to feed myself? How am I going to take care of myself? Oh my God, I need to be able to pay my bills. Now, I budget and I manage well. I pay my bills because years ago when I had an apartment the first time, I was like, okay, I wasn't doing right and paying my bills on time and doing like I should. I Y'all, we got some stuff happening in the background, see. Anyway, let's push through it. Okay, so I wasn't paying my bills on time. And this was early 19-year-old, 20-year-old me. And I wasn't paying my bills on time. I would shop rather than pay my rent sometimes, and I would get like 2 months behind, and I would have to catch up. So then, excuse me, I'm stressed out about catching up. So I prayed and I asked God. I was like, Lord, I know it's people out here able to manage and do this, pay their bills. I prayed about it. I was young and I prayed about it. And I asked God to teach me how to manage my money, teach me how to pay my bills on time, and give me the willpower and the determination to stick with it and do it. Because you could pray for like, oh Lord, teach me how to do this, but you got to execute it. You got to actually execute the plan. So I prayed about it. I wonder, is that dust or something flying from these trees? Anyway, okay. I prayed about it. God, you could ask and pray about something and ask God to do it and to teach you how to do it. I should have brought something to drink out here. Y'all, I'm leaving all these bloopers in. Anyway, I may not though. Anyway, I prayed about it and I asked God to show me. You can ask God to show you something, but if you don't execute it and do it well and stick with it and be consistent, it's waste. It's the waste of time. Your prayers, He answered your prayers, but you're not you're not actually sticking with what you ask God to do. So, and of course you'll get off track, but it's always good to realize, okay, I'm off track. I need to get back on track. I need to stick with what I'm asking God to do and be consistent. So that way when He gives me more, I can handle it and manage it well. If God had blessed me with wealth back when I was 19, 20 years old, I would be broke. I probably wouldn't have anything to show for it except for like a bunch of shoes and clothes. And people try to make you feel bad for not managing well, and sometimes we just don't know. That's why we have to be helpers one to another, because if you don't know how to manage your money, if you don't know how to budget, help me. Don't criticize me, and then you have some people that'll help you and tell others that they helped you. That's why you got to just pray, ask God to send you people that will be willing to help you, but it stays between them and God. They're not holding it over your head and making you feel bad about it. But anyway, so I prayed, I asked God to show me, and I got off track some, but I will get back on track knowing that I needed to do what was best for my bills, for my finances, for my mental health. Because financially, if you're going through something financially, it takes a total on your mental. It actually is a heavy burden to carry. If you have children and you have to feed them, you have those mouths to feed, you have to figure out, how am I going to feed my children? it's heavy. It weighs heavy. So that's why being a good steward over the little that you have helps you to build those skills of managing well, paying your bills on time, being able to provide for yourself and your family, getting up, going to work. You even have to be, God even let me know, you have to be a good steward over your job. God is not going to promote you if you're not showing up to work on time. You want to be a supervisor, but you late. Okay, you want to be you want to be promoted within the company, but you don't have a good attitude. You coming in negative Nancy all the time, you dragging, you ain't never got nothing good to say. God watches how we wait. And we'll be back. Yeah, we back. I don't really know what's choking me out here. I don't know if it's dust or what. But anyway, God gave me this thought probably like a year or two ago. He watches how we wait. Are you waiting and complaining? Are you waiting well and being a good steward over what he gave you until he gives you more? Balcony location, 2 out of 10. We're going to push on through it. But if I get to choking some more, we're going to take it on in the house. Anyway, God watches how we wait. Are you waiting and complaining, or are you waiting well? Are you being a good steward over the little that he gives you? Like, okay, for example, you get paid from your job and you're always complaining about your paycheck, right? And I found myself doing that a couple of years ago. God has really blessed me as far as my jobs and stuff. And I don't like to change jobs. That's another thing. God wants us to be good stewards over our stability. God don't want you double-minded. And my brother had a conversation with me the other day about my goals and my aspirations and dreams. He was saying that I'm double-minded. And yeah, it hurts. When somebody tell you the truth about something, it hurts. Especially if you know it's the truth, it hurts. So he was saying that I'm double-minded and God want me to be clear about what I want. Y'all, I'm telling you, God give me all kind of ideas, all kind of thoughts and dreams and all kind of things. And I'll start working on trying to do all of them at one time. No, God don't. It's possible. You can do that. But God wants us to be clear. He don't want us going from one thing to another. He don't want us, you know, I'm gonna start this project, then don't finish that one, skip to another one, then all that. He don't want us doing that. He want us consistent. He want us clear. He want us to know what we want, write the vision, make it plain. Okay, so he was telling me, make sure you're being a good steward over your finances. Now, this is a hard truth that I'm gonna share with y'all, transparent moment, because you know it's good for us to be transparent with one another so we can help each other. When I would get paid, I would budget out my money, but my tithes wouldn't be, and I know some people like to tussle about the whole 10% and this, that, and the third. I pay my 10%. If you don't pay your 10%, that's you. If you don't believe in it, hey, more power to you. I'm not telling you. I mean, look, I'm going to pay mine, okay? And my offering. But anyway, he was saying, pay God his full 10%. Stop cheating God. And I know it came from God because a couple of days before Monday, I had a real long week this week, just kind of in my feelings about my mom, my finances, and just different things. And see, it goes back to being a good steward. So I was praying and talking to God in the washroom, and I was like, Lord, I give my finances to you. Teach me how to feel about money. Teach me how to manage money in a way where when you bless me with more, I'll know what to do and I'll know how to save. Teach me how to save. That prayer that I prayed when I was younger, I just reiterated it to God, because sometimes you have to go back and remind God, like, I need you to do this. I still need that. Keep me on the wheel. Keep molding me. Keep shaping me so that I can be a good steward. Show me how to be a good steward. Okay, so I was praying and talking to God in the washroom. I was loading the washer. And God began to speak to me. He said, pay your tithes and trust me more. So I was like, okay. Because sometimes I'll hold that money back for a just in case. Like, just in case I need to buy some extra groceries, just in case something come up, just in case I go somewhere or get something to eat. It's nothing worse. Nothing. Well, it's other stuff that's worse. But when you're, like, let's say, for example, this is in my experience, your coworkers decide they want to go out to eat. And I'm going to tell you what my brother said that cut me down. I'm talking about cut me down. It's nothing worse than your coworkers want to go out to eat and grab a quick bite to lunch, and you can't go because you don't have the money, but you're like, no, I'm fine. But in the back of your mind and in your throat, that feeling, like, I can't explain it, but it's terrible. It's terrible. It sucks. And that's why I want to be able to be a blessing to others, to other young women, to women in general. Like, because I know how it feels. Like, I've been there, and I'm telling you, it's hard. But you got to steward what you have now well, so God can take you to that place, so you can be a blessing, so you can obtain wealth. And he don't mind. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. I'm telling you, it's like, if you manage what you have right now, God will definitely increase it. He'll know you're a good steward. He can trust you. God want to know that he can trust us, and he want us to trust him. So paying your tithes is you giving this sacrifice, because it is a sacrifice. You give it to God and you're trusting him with it. Like, okay, God, if something do come up, I know you're going to take care of it. And God, that's what he wants from us. It's hard. It is, but it's possible. Okay, so when I talked to my brother later in the week, because I wanted to ask him about going back to school, and see, I was in the nursing y'all, I'm all over the place, but it's all going to make sense. I was in a nursing program when my mother got sick, and I was her caregiver, me and my baby brother. And I was in my second semester. Well, I had to stop because, you can't work, go to school, and be a caregiver. You're going to have to, like, pick your battles. And she had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, so I had to choose. I had to decide, what am I going to give up? So I gave up school. I went on leave from work, and I took care of my mom. So I've always wanted to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So, and I even would teach it. Like, I love it so much. It's my passion. But I've always started things and never completed them. And I don't like that. So I was like, okay, it dawned on me a couple of weeks ago that I was actually far into the nursing program. I was in my second semester. I could have tested out, like, going into my third semester as an LPN. I was just that close. Like, it was right there. Like, I could feel it. But I of course, I had to stop. And I don't regret it. But then after I took care of my mom, I was like, I don't want to go back to nursing school. I don't want to be a nurse. I'm fine with what I'm doing now. But then I also was feeling like, if I went back to nursing school, the dreams that I have, the goals that I have, and I have 3 major things that I want to do, and it's always been those 3 things for years. I felt like that was me settling and giving up on that. And I hate giving up. I'm not a quitter. But my brother, I talked to my baby brother, and he was saying, Angel, that would actually help to fund your dreams, fund your actual what you want to do. So I was like, you know what, that makes so much sense. I never thought about it like that. So I was thinking about it and getting some information about it. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Getting some information about it, and I text one of my older brothers. He is very wise. I say he's an extraterrestrial supernatural being because he's, like, incredibly smart. So okay, he was like, that'll be good. Call me when you get a chance. I was like, oh God, oh my God, because he gonna give it to you straight. He gonna give it to you straight. So anyway, I called him on my lunch break, and he was like, hey, what's up, y'all? He said so much good stuff. Like, it was just so wonderful. But this is what he said about the tithes. He said, pay your tithes, Angel. Stop cheating God. He said, and pay all of it, the full 10%, not a little here, a little there. And I know it came from God because I didn't tell him that. I don't really tell people that struggle that I have with that. But yeah, so he was like, and listen, he said, and trust God. He was saying, and listen, think about this. That money, y'all, it blew my mind. That money that you're taking to buy food, you're eating your blessing. The blessing that God would have gave you, you're eating it. No lie. I was so disgusted with myself. I was like, are you serious? But I never thought about it like that. And see, that's wisdom. I'm telling you. And he's a good steward over his gift. His gift of prophetic that God has given him, he's a good steward over it. And he obeys God. God trusts him because he's a good steward. He's stewarding it well. Y'all haven't even really touched on my notes. Okay, also, fear is something that can hinder you from being a good steward. The scripture in the Bible about the talents, and y'all check it out. The scripture in the Bible about the talents, it lets you know each person was given a number of talents. One person had one. And what they did with that talent, I guess because they were afraid that they would lose it, squander it, not do well by it, they buried it. They buried it. And you have to, even if it's one, I don't care if it's $15. If you told God you was going to save those $15 every 2 weeks or every week when you get paid, save them and he'll increase them. You would be surprised. Like, God is so supernatural and wonderful that he literally will bless what you're trying to do, no matter how small it is. Okay. Fear also paralyzes progress, okay? Because you're afraid to step out on faith, you'll never get to the place that God intends for you to be. And this is the crazy thing. The devil doesn't fight us for our blessings. He fights us for our stewardship and faith. He fights us to keep us from getting to, because he can't stop what God has for you. But he can try to distract you and distort you and get you off course. Now, if he gets you off course, you're on a longer track path to what God has for you. So we have to actually take a step back and think about, okay, is this decision good for where I'm trying to go and what? And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't know where God is taking us, but we just have to trust him. That's all he wants us to do, is trust and believe in him and have faith that it's going to work out for the greater good of our lives. And that's where I am. It's hard, but you just have to continually say it's going to work out. And it could be working out for all the people around you, and you're still standing right there in the middle of the room and nothing has happened for you. And that's where I am right now. But I know that it's happened for others, so I'm next. Now, God gave me this thought. I was coming up the steps, and you could be in a line, moving up the ladder. You all the way in the back. You're all the way in the back. You can't even see the front. But y'all, every so often, y'all take a little step forward. That means it's another opportunity and chance that you're up next. Because the line could be going slow right now, but then all of a sudden the line picks up. Y'all know how it is in Walmart. So at any moment you could be next. That's why you gotta hang on and don't forfeit the time. I have this thought all the time. It gets hard waiting, trying to be a good steward, trying to manage well, trying to keep your faith, trying to keep trusting God. But I keep this thought. If I forfeit the time, I have to start over. Who want to start over? Not me. Not the 10 years that I done put in, waiting and striving and hoping and praying and being faithful. And I haven't been faithful over everything. I haven't been faithful. That you have to call yourself out on it. You know if you're not being faithful. You know if you're not being a good steward. That's when you could tell God, help me. God, he loves our honesty. He loves our openness with him. He knows already. So you might as well just be honest and tell him. Ask him, show me how to be a good steward. Show me how to manage well. And another thing that I wrote down, faithfulness is not tested in moments of excitement. It's tested when everything is not going well. that's when our faith is tested. That's when the devil comes and piles on so much other stuff on top of what's already happening. That's when our faith is tested. If you excited, you on the mountaintop, everything going good for you, you ain't worried about faith, because you don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. If you don't have to use it, you're not worried about it. But when it's time for you to actually use your faith and utilize it and put it to the test, trust me, you'll know your faith is being tested. And you have to recognize the enemy with his tactics. You have to discern what he's trying to do and how he's trying to distract you. He wants to keep us from being a good steward, because he knows God is not going to bless you with more if you're mismanaging your money. He's not going to give you more time if you're mismanaging the time that he already blesses us with. He's not going to give you more gifts if you're mismanaging and not utilizing the gift that he already given you. Are you being a witness? Our first objective as Christians is to be a witness to someone else. We are the people that are already believers in Christ. We are supposed to be helping others prepare and get ready, and also be believers. It's like a domino effect. Me, the next person, the next person, the next person, the next person. And the Bible talks about that. I mean, 1 chase 100, 2 chase 10,000. It's so on and so forth. And I think I probably said that numbering backwards, but y'all know what I mean. But anyway, okay. So my note. This was good. David was anointed king, but he had to be faithful over the sheep in the field before he could go to the palace. He couldn't just go from the field to the king's house. David had so many obstacles and oppositions ahead of him before he actually got there, and he still remained faithful in being a good steward over what he had. I mean, he still showed God, you could trust me. I'm going to be a good steward over what you've given me and over what you've told me. It's just, and then Joseph, he had to be faithful serving in Potiphar's house before he actually was elevated up. It's just like, and Joseph is a good example of a good steward, because he did well over the position that he was in. And it wasn't a position like, he was sold to be a prisoner. He was a good steward over being a prisoner. He was the best prisoner that he could be. And God just opened my mind up to that, because he was the best prisoner that he can be. He was in prison. He was a prisoner. And he yet was still a good steward over that. And you know what God did? He elevated him. He gave him more. He gave him more. As a prisoner, he was still a prisoner. But God, that's a really profound example of being a good steward. Okay. You have to prove, and scripture talks about this, you have to prove to God that you're going to be faithful and a good steward. And some people are like, well, why? Because he's faithful to us. He's a good steward to us. God is a good steward to us. So why not prove to him that we're going to be a good steward over what he has? And all of this that we have, God has given us life. God has given us. We have to be a good steward over our lives. We have to be a good steward over the vessel that he's blessed us with. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy. Get the proper rest and nutrients that you need. Be a good steward over yourself. Be a good steward for yourself. I mean, I don't know another way to say that, but let's see what else we got on our notes. Okay. What God gives us is for the kingdom. It's not for us. It's not for us. It's for the kingdom. It's for his kingdom. It's for us to be stewards in every aspect of the kingdom, and every part of the kingdom is for the kingdom. It's for kingdom building. So we are kingdom builders, and he wants us to be good steward over building what he gives us in the kingdom. And all of us have different gifts. All of us have different assignments. And you know what's so amazing about God? None of us are the same. None of us are the same. But all of us should strive to be good stewards alike. Because, okay, let's say, for example, if I'm supposed to clean the bathroom, or you're supposed to clean the fellowship hall, and one day the bathroom and the fellowship hall are connected together. One day we're having an event and the bathroom is not clean. The person that cleaned the fellowship hall has to now go and clean the bathroom. But that makes them burn out, frustrated, and aggravated, and they don't want to do it anymore because I wasn't doing my part as a steward over the bathroom. You see how that is? It's like a ripple effect. It's like a domino effect. That's why we have to do our parts and do our parts well, be faithful to our parts, and also be good stewards over our parts as well. Because God is watching how we wait. God is also watching how we steward. Yeah, and He blesses us accordingly. Okay, let's see. We talked about spiritual gifts. And just to touch on that again, if you're not utilizing your spiritual gift and it's just lying dormant, you're going to have to give an account to God for the souls that are attached to you. God has assigned souls to us. He has assigned people to us. And I've actually think I found one of my people at work that God, I know for a fact that I found one of my people that God has assigned me to. But I think in the process of that, He's assigned 2 other people to me as well. And I love them. Like, and one of the people, it started off kind of rough. Like, it started off kind of rough. But my heart has softened to this person. And that's only God. Only God can do that. Because I'm a grudge holder. And if I know something, if I know you've wronged me, then I hold it against you. But I'm working on that. I'm a better steward about that, because that's not Christ-like. That's not right. So let's see. Y'all, I think that's actually it. I mean, if you don't know how to be a good steward, pray, ask God to help you to be a good steward over what He has given you. Pray and ask God to help you to manage what you have and manage it well and execute the plan that He shows and gives you. Trust God more. Trust God with your finances. Finances is a big one in all of our lives, because the economy is so bad right now that we're just kind of guessing day to day and worrying about the future and worrying about our lives and livelihoods. And some people are out here, they don't have anything right now. So let's pray for them, pray for each other, and just pray and ask God to keep and guide us, because He will. That's what He's there for. He wants us to be good stewards and, do well. He wants to give us more. He wants to give us more, but we have to show Him that we can handle it and we can manage it to the best of our abilities, because if not, He's not finna entrust you with more of His kingdom and you're not doing right over the little portion that He's already given you. I commit that I'm going to be a better steward, and I think about it every day. I try to work towards it every day, even over just cleaning your house. I didn't even realize how it gets down all to that. If you're not, I'm telling you, it goes deep. Yeah, do y'all a little research on being a steward and the things that God wants us to steward well, and also waiting, how we wait. I'm working on a book called The Problems with Waiting, or The Trouble with Waiting. I don't know. I haven't decided on the title. Anyway, I love y'all, and if you didn't know, now you know. I'll see you in the next one.
Stay down, can't mark, God made a way.